Hi, Rob Mitchell here. Thanks for joining me for this brief webinar. What makes the best day trading indicators? Traders have asked me over the years the answer to this question, and here it is for you in the brief form that will help you to understand the difference that makes a difference in your day trading. First off, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. There's a risk of loss trading futures. And so don't use the grocery money to trade. Yeah, we're going to look at some cool patterns today with some statistics associated with them. It's super important to not use the grocery money to trade. Yeah, thank you. So what makes the best day trading indicators? This is best answered by asking the right questions or posing the right ideas. An indicator should be able to produce a known outcome for a given pattern on the indicator. Further, it should be able to stand on its own. In other words, it doesn't really need other things in order to do it. Should just be a simple pattern. Maybe we'll use the market structure itself, but should be able to stand on its own pretty much, yeah. In other words, it should be able to give you a probability for continuation, or in the counter trend could give you a probability for going the other way. Yeah. And so it should be able to give you a forward prediction over a range of price bars. Yeah. So if the indicator meets the criteria we just discussed, then by definition, it's predictive in various contexts. So I submit most indicators out there are random. You know, in other words, they do not or are not predictive. And maybe you've seen an indicator, or maybe you haven't, from a vendor where they show the predictiveness of the indicator. You know, have you ever seen that? So in this webinar, I'm going to show you just that. And I'm going to show you how you can use combinations of such indicators to potentially increase the historical and theoretical predictiveness to build super systems. In this video, though, I'm just going to do individual indicators, and we're going to look at a few different patterns. Once you get this concept, trading becomes a very different game than what we believe the vast majority of other traders have any idea about. So as a simple example of this concept, I'm going to set up a chart with an indicator we use called the Smart Super Trend. This indicator has various modes of operation. I'm going to use one of them on a pattern that we call hook a yellow pattern. It's pretty simple, but of the three, this is probably the most complicated one that I'm going to show you today. So the hay pattern takes trades in the direction of the market structure or trend. In this case, we're going to use smart price band just to make it super simple, where the bars through the smart price band, and where a reversal bar that we're going to look at on a chart in a minute encompasses the last most recent yellow tick that's going in the direction of the trade that we're taking. In other words, it trades where the market has found support for long or resistance for short and traded back above to go long or below it to go short, and having encompassed it. And we'll look at that on a chart to make it super clear in a second. And I'm going to do this as a proof of concept. You could also use it as a standalone trading system, but more specifically to establish just a statistical profile using a program that we call Trade Markers from Indicator Smart to get that basic profile. Yeah. So this is the pattern right here. And you'll see the market's coming lower right here, and you see these yellow ticks coming down, yellow tick right there. Yeah. When I get a reversal bar that encompasses that, in other words, if I drew that yellow bar or that yellow tick going across, this bar trades on both sides of it. Yeah, there's a reversal bar. You see this bar is a little bit longer than these other bars. We call that a reversal bar. And so the reversal bar encompasses that yellow tick that's going down. You know, the last most recent yellow tick that's going with. Yeah, and so that's a sell signal right there using the hay pattern. You know, the hay pattern. Here's another one. Last most recent yellow tick is right there, and I've drawn it across. I encompass that right there. And so that's a sell signal. And then the market comes lower here. I get a yellow tick going down right there, downward, last most recent yellow tick, and then we do the encompassing pattern on the reversal right there, and we continue lower. Market comes up, the smart price band rolls over. I actually could have considered this one, but I was being more conservative with it, where we actually touched that last most recent yellow. On this one, the last most recent yellow tick is right there, and I encompass it with the reversal bar right there. We call this pattern hook a yellow. Super, super simple. So let's take a look what trade markers shows us for this particular pattern. I hook a yellow pattern with the trend, and it gives us 93, 85, 85 to 5, 10, and 20 ticks. On this particular one, I have a break-even stop after 6 ticks after that first target. And we'll also look at it for not having that. It gives us 93, 75, 56 to 5, 10, and 20. I could have done this to 15, but it just happens to be what I had it set to when I did the test. So what do we do with this information? Well, what we know is that there's a probability field surrounding the pattern. So trade markers has enabled us to see that. Based on the test, 93% to the first target, upwards of 73% to the second target, and 85% if we protected it. We would protect it if we were trading it as a standalone system, which we could do. So is this a trading system or strategy? Well, it could be. But we can make it better, and I'll do some other videos covering making it better. But on this one, we're just going to do these individually. So I like to think of these things as tendencies or as a context, or like I said, a probability field that the market wants to follow through to the extent of the trades. And we've been using these patterns for a long time, so I don't need to test a bunch of them to know that it works. But so I could use it as a standalone trading system or in conjunction with other things. See my video on best day trading strategies if you want to take this concept to another level. You want to do another one? Let's take a look at another one. So in this one, I'm going to use an order flow indicator that we use with extensive development on it over years and years of development, called the Trap Trader Oscillator Advanced, TTOA. And we're just going to use a super simple pattern on that one. And so it's going to be even simpler than the last pattern we did, hook a yellow pattern. We know at least 30 such patterns on this indicator alone. And so this is just one of the many that we know. The Trap Trader Oscillator is a super high performance order flow indicator that can show traps or high order flow momentum situations. And so this particular pattern is a kind of a trap where you've got strong order flow momentum and then some traders get trapped on the wrong side of it. We call this the 2 dB pattern. So for this pattern, the Trap Trader Oscillator Advanced will go with price, non-divergent. And then if it breaks the right side of the pattern in one reversal bar, we covered reversal bars in the last one, and it hooks, goes the other way, we'll buy or sell with the pattern. Simple. Let's take a look at a chart that shows us this so you can see it visually. This is a high momentum trap pattern. It won't happen as often as the previous one, but it's a super awesome pattern. It took me years before I fully discovered this pattern on charts. So what we get here is the price is going down. It goes red, green, red, and goes lower here. And you see that the Trap Trader Oscillator is going with that. And then it breaks that right edge. You see that little dot's higher than that one right there. And I know that I can take the next hook in the same direction. Next hook in the same direction. Let's see if we can find another one here. I actually missed one here. I got one here where, well, actually that isn't. And so this one almost made the pattern. Sometimes it'll miss it by a little bit. And in this case, you're coming down and then break the right edge. But the other one that I have on here is the price is going up. Yeah, sometimes I'll call it A, B, C, D, or green, red, green. And the trap trader oscillator is going with that. And then it breaks that right edge and hooks again. Hooks again. We call that pattern the 2DB pattern. Let's take a look at what kind of a profile we got from trade markers on that. That was a 94% to the first one, 88 to the second, 82 to the third. Yeah, 82 to the third. That's called the 2DB pattern. This time 5, 10, and 15 tick targets. Yeah. So for this test, the 2DB pattern resulted in 94% to the first target, 88% to the second, 82% to the third. Yeah, same concepts apply, probability field, or however you want to think about it. Yeah. Now, I left the yellow ticks and the smart price bands on there from the previous test we did. Did you notice that those also lined up? Yeah. This one was also hooky yellow. This one was also hooky yellow. And if we went and looked at a bunch of them, you'd see that sometimes those line up. That's a discussion of another video that I had already mentioned. Yeah. So the subject of these lineups, as I said, the video is going to be called Best Day Trading Strategies. So that takes it like to another level, yeah, this whole discussion. So, but that teaches you how to build super systems using the concept that we're talking about. So be sure to watch that one. Yeah. Let's do another one just for fun. This one's called the 3-dot pattern. We've been doing this one forever. It's super, super simple and super easy to see. And I usually suggest that you trade the ones that are easy for you to see. Yeah, easy for you to see. And the 3-dot pattern is a real easy one to see. You'll see you got a dot there, a lower dot, and a lower dot. So we call that 3 lower dots. You got 3 lower dots, and that's the sell signal. No, that's a sell signal. And it did it again, lower dot, 3 lower dots. That's the sell signal. Yeah. It's a sell signal. And over here, lower dot, that's the sell signal. Here, lower dot, 3 lower dots, that's the sell signal. And over here, we start picking up possibly going to the long side. I could filter this by using the trend or whatever I want to, but I just did it as it is. We call it 3-dot pattern, 3 lower dots, 3 higher dots, also known as a 3D pattern. You know. So let's take a look at the profile for this from trade markers. 94% to the first, 75% to the second, 72 to the third target. 94 to the first, 75 to the second, 72 to the third. If we protected this as we would if we were using it as a standalone trading strategy, we would have gotten this. Would have locked everything 94% across the board. So that provides me with my stat profile with that. So you might have noticed, again, these patterns lining up with some of the other patterns that we discussed. And if you get those stacking up, like I said, we'll cover that in the other video. So we have many, many of these kinds of patterns that we've developed over the years in the trading room, 8 years of doing this. And we just keep finding new patterns all the time. We've got so many of them that you can mix and match them in any way you like and trade the way that's personal and meaningful to you, which is super important. It's super important that you trade in a way that you understand and the patterns that you can see. I always tell people, trade the ones that you can see first, and also just learn one pattern at a time. Don't try to learn 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them all at the same time. So key concepts in review. Most indicators are random. Indicators become non-random. Successful intraday trading strategies for specific reasons. Yeah, for specific reasons. We're not getting into a lot of theory here as to why these patterns work, but there is a method to the madness behind each of them. If you don't know the reason why your trading system works, then I submit there may be some problems there. Yeah, so it's good to know why your strategy or system or method is working. You know. An indicator should be able to produce a known outcome for a given pattern on the indicator, and further, it should be able to stand on its own. Successful indicators should be able to give you a probability for continuation or give a forward prediction over a range of price bars. This is another concept I'll do a video on called progressive probability stacking. So the best indicators for day trading following these principles in the creation of the best day trading signal strategies and trading systems. Yeah. So going beyond this general discussion, like I said, watch the other video and other videos, but there are many other patterns that we teach in various forms in our trading room involving what we discussed in this video, using tools that are part of the Smart Patterns trading system from Indicator Smart. We use trade markers. That's one of the tools that we use from there. Many of these have exceptional theoretical historical hit rates with predictive value, just like what we discussed here historically. Yeah. Trading this way, there's really nothing like it. This type of trading strategy system design is inclined to stand the test of time, much better than traditional ways of building trading systems, because each statistic stands on its own independently and are based fundamentally on the way markets work. So I'll get into some of the math and things of that in other videos that we're doing in this series as well. Yeah. So join us in the trading room to learn more. Check out Indicator Smart for more on the Smart Patterns trading systems and the tools that we use to do this. Most of the tools we have these kinds of things. Some of them push for a signal, some of them pull. We have different kinds of concepts with that. You can read a little bit of that on indicatorsmart.com. The trading room is a live application of these and other concepts. We think it's the best way to learn and to advance your skills, knowledge in such methods and contexts that can work in any reasonably volatile market. There's just some comments from users and trading room members, and learn about the tools we've covered at indicatorsmart.com. And for advanced live training daily, oiltradingroom.com. Be sure to join our mailing list and subscribe to us on the YouTube channel to keep informed of more systems and methods. Yeah. Thanks for joining me for this brief webinar on, what do we call this one? Now, the best day trading indicators. Like I said, traders ask me over the years, what makes the best day trading indicators? And these are the concepts that sit behind it. Yeah. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you again on the next one.